Hey, what's up, folks? My name is Chris, and welcome to Sunday Brunch with Chris here on Battery Powered. I think I want to start today by saying thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to everybody who, when I announce this thing on Twitter or drop it anywhere, they share or retweet it. Super grateful for all of you guys. Welcome to all the replayers. Welcome to, welcome and thank you to everybody today. But especially thanks to moms out there. Happy Mother's Day. If you're a mother watching this, cool. If your mother isn't watching this, I also totally understand that because mine isn't either. So, so what do we have to talk about this week? Well, for one thing, I want to start off by saying I currently see Tech702 in the chat. Hello, Tech702. Hey, Tech for your needs. I am 100% confident that you're also going to see probably Michael Pepper showing up here as well in a moment. So I will say advance thanks and welcome to him as well. And we'll see who else drops in. I made a tweet earlier about new studio, and this would be the last tweet from the old studio. And really, this is not a major change. It's just, a little bit of hype festing. This is currently the area that I'm doing this from is currently really my workplace where I work, like my business day-to-day kind of thing. So I will be reorganizing, reorchestrating, redeveloping that whole thing over the next week. So if things are a little bit different next week, I'm going to try to get some of this Mr. Coffee stuff, like move that around. So things might look a little bit different next week, I guess is what I'm saying. So if you love the way that my office looks now, just make sure you take a snap of it because next week it's going to be all different. I think I'm actually I feel like with the Instant Pots, or I'm sorry, the Mr. Coffee stuff here, and then, this Instant Pot stuff over here, it also doesn't, it's like a heavily male biased aisle. And I want to make this more, gender neutral and friendly. So I'm probably going to put some, hair dryers or something else back there to spice it up a little bit. So, and yes, yeah, mom's basement. That is definitely not the case because she uses all black shelves. So, hey, what's up, Apple Monster? Welcome, man. Thanks for coming through. So the headliner for me is it's the MacBook Pro. I've got to talk about this, and we're gonna go through the facts. Okay, the facts of this are that it now has the new keyboard, right? So it finally got the new keyboard, which is a great thing. I'm not. Don't worry, we're not going to go too deep here. I like to keep it up for things that people might actually care about. So you can now get 4 terabytes SSD in it. It now starts at 256 gigabytes for storage instead of 128. And it keeps its same starting price of $12.99, same amount of Thunderbolt ports, all that stuff. There's really not a significant amount of change in that realm, other than you can before you used to be able to get a 2 terabyte SSD. Now you can get 4, which is great. You can also get that between 32 gig of RAM and 4 terabyte of SSD, you can get a pretty wild machine. But and there's also new CPUs, which is interesting. They have Intel 10th generation CPUs, but it's only in their higher tier units. So if you really truly want one of those, you've got to pay $17.99, unless you have any discounts or anything like that, plus tax, depending on where you live. So it's really not the base model starting with new CPUs. The base model uses the old school Coffee Lake, I believe, 8th generation Intel CPUs. So there's some changes here. It's the same stupid freaking web camera that Apple really has embraced the whole aspect of it's not how you look, it's how you sound. I've long been told I have a face for radio, and Apple is going to protect that if I use their webcam because they have the potato 720p still shoved in there. I don't understand how they do this. If Apple sold webcams, I would understand. Put the crappy one in your MacBook, and then people will buy the other one and hook it in, and maybe it's Bluetooth or whatever. Maybe it's time for iSight 3.0 to come back. But stupid potato cam, which I don't understand why they do that. But they put in bomb mics now. So the new iPad Pro 2020 has some much improved audio processing for microphones and a different setup for microphones. The new MacBook Pro 16 has that, and the MacBook Pro 13 also has that, which is, their beam forming is the sort of technology that's being thrown around, which I am not going to explain. But it provides a more crystalline sound for you, a more realistic sound. It is really, truly impressive, I will say. My MacBook Pro 16 the mics, the pickup of the mics on that device are incredible. You would not guess it as me speaking into a laptop. But at the same time, if you saw the video coming out of that machine at the same time, you wouldn't believe it either. So I don't understand why they can't give the same damn treatment to video. That's all. So then we've also got speakers. We've got, some allegedly new Dolby Atmos compliant speakers on the Pro 13. I have not personally heard them. I did not buy one. I wasn't that hooked into them. But I can tell you on the Pro 16, the speakers are crazy. But I have read that the 13 speakers are not as intense. Either way, I think it's good that Apple's doing this because they're trying to do this. They have this whole ADHD thing about what are they doing with the iPad Pro? Is it a laptop replacement? Is the MacBook Pro a laptop? Is the iPad Pro displacing the MacBook Pro? Is it replacing your primary computing platform? And the MacBook Pros are, they are beefing them up a little bit more with, significantly more capacity. I think trying to differentiate them away from what the iPad can do. So if you need that truly, I guess I'll say immersive experience, and you want a headphone jack built into your primary computing device, you can have it. Now, was I tempted? And sorry, yeah, tech for your needs. Yes, this is the 13-inch model that I am talking about. Apologies. And yes, I should. Yes, I'm going to get a I am going to get. I will throw an Apple. Actually, let me see here. I think I did stick a. Did I have an Apple Store background in here? No, I don't. Sorry. I will have my studio next week will look a little bit more like the Apple Store. I promise. Even if I have to do really, really bad Photoshops in there, I promise that. But hey, what's up, Gary? Welcome, man. Contractors POV checking in. Good to see you, dude. Dude is what I say when it's buddy or dude, and I'm not sure which one it is this week. The Tech 702 baiting me with the tell us what the GPU is for $2,000. I believe it is still Intel Iris graphics. Yes, integrated stuff. No really discrete GPU on these guys, which is where I will use that as my corner turning bit for this device. So I have a MacBook Pro 16, not a secret. In that realm, I enjoy it. I enjoy that keyboard. It's great. I love everything that machine does. I love it so much that I barely touch it because I don't know. I don't need it that much, quite honestly. I blame LumaFusion. I used to even live stream on it. Now I don't. So I'm not selling it, but I'm close to it. But anyways, getting back on track. The 13-inch, why didn't Apple just make a 14-inch? That's the stupid thing of this. If they had made a 14-inch display, if they had given us a real GPU option, if they had made it, it's like they wanted to make it more and more powerful with some newer CPUs and bigger capacity and all this stuff. And I don't understand who's going to want 4 terabytes of SSD and 32 gigs of RAM that isn't going to want a discrete GPU in there. That's the miss. And then those same people, wouldn't they be more likely to jump if they had a 14-inch display on that small MacBook? So for me personally, like I said, I was tempted to if they came out with a 14, it was going to be a tough decision. I think Apple, very, very smart with what they did. They added in this great keyboard. They gave it a great new experience. They refreshed the 13-inch device, but they're not going to cannibalize people that want the most and the least amount of space are going to have to go to that 16-inch. I know when I got the 16, my first thought was they're going to do this to the 13, and I have a 13 as well. 13 is really my business machine, and that's what I use. I probably spend the most time of any computer ever on my MacBook Pro 13s that I use for work. But I would love to have a 14-inch option on there, and I love the device. I would have waited, but as you know, I got impatient. But Apple's so in my opinion, Apple's doing the same thing they did back with the iPad Pros, and don't fact check me on dates here, but they came out with the iPad Pro, and they brought the 12.9, and then later on they dropped the the 9.7 Pro, and then everyone expected they're going to do this new machine. It's going to be a bigger, we got the 12.9 iPad. Now we're going to get the bigger 9.7. Well, they waited on that one. They waited to drop the 10.5 till later because you can make way more money when you do it this way. If you string people along, that's the business that Apple's in. I can't complain. I own their stock. So, hey, cool. Do what you do, guys. But yeah, Tech 702 says they'll make a 14 in December, which is absolutely correct. That is. I mean, I don't know that for a fact. I'm just saying that's most likely what they'll do. They'll drop it at some point when we're, after we've said, oh, never mind, I'm going to go buy the 16-inch Pro. The 13 isn't for me. I don't want that stupid tiny screen. It's ridiculous. So I think the question for now is, should you buy one? That's what everybody always wants to know. Well, should I buy it? If you love 13-inch displays and you don't need a GPU, but you want the option of a 4 terabyte SSD, that's pretty darn expensive. Yes, but in like 6 months, you're probably going to be really upset when they come out with a 14-inch model, is my guess. And I'm also wondering, and again, this is all just me guessing this stuff. I'm wondering if they're going to do like mini LED in the newer stuff, and maybe that's why they're waiting. They'll drop the 14-inch with the mini LED, then they'll wait like 6 to 8 months, and then they'll bring that treatment over to that 16-inch size. That, Apple used to do the tick and talk thing, and now when they have products like this, they don't treat them all the same, and they do that because it's much easier to extract things from our wallet. So, but one shout out, that keyboard, I just need to be clear. I am a little bit of a keyboard snob. Yeah. That's a whole other episode, but I do love that keyboard on the MacBook Pro 16, now the revised one on the new revised Air. And while I haven't tried it yet on the MacBook Pro 13 2020 flavor, if it's the exact same keyboard as the others, you will love it as well. It is great. Apple made a return in the right direction to doing things that people actually will enjoy typing on, and it is awesome. But just to be clear, I refuse to give them money for that new 13 unless it's really a 14. So what am I buying, or what should you buy? And this is kind of funny. I swear we're not coordinating this episode, but Tech 702 says buy an Air. And that is my advice. If you're someone that isn't a hitter, if you don't need to go and if you don't need that crazy stuff, which if you need 32 gig of RAM and 4 terabyte SSDs, if you needed that for your day-to-day, you already own a 16 and you don't care. So if you're looking to expand into that realm, I would say, what do you really need to do? Do you really need that storage on board? And can you just buy the Air instead? For me personally, the Air, here's this really, really weird thing. The Pro is flat. So when you open it, it's a clamshell, right? Does that little thing. The Air actually has a slanty keyboard, which it's a minimal angle, but it is way preferable for me for typing. There's no stupid touch bar, which is another thing that Apple keeps bringing back. And I hate the touch bar. I try not to rant about it because I hate it, but that's why I really like the Air far better. Especially if you're not dying in Excel spreadsheets or modeling or trying to do some sort of animation. I don't mean modeling like taking pictures and that thing. I mean data modeling or like CAD stuff, just to be clear. If you're not doing heavy duty work like that, then maybe try the Air first. See if that works. If it doesn't, then maybe go to the Pro. But if you go give Apple money for that Pro, they're going to take it as, cool, let's keep doing this stuff. I'll do that up here. Cool, we'll just keep doing this stuff. It's what consumers want. And that's not the case. So, Kay Hodge, welcome, man. Thanks for coming through. Good morning. And add 120 screen, say there first. Yeah, I think that Apple is so into making small changes. I mean, I think that they have a great talent pool. They have the manufacturing power. They have supply chain. They have talent that could drive things. They could make really, really heavy changes to any amount of their products that they want to. But obviously, that's going to shoot the cost up even further. So they'd rather leave the cost at a lower place, sprinkle in a few things at a time, and then collect margin on that, which is great. I mean, a lot of people hate them for it. It's good to make money. I just wish that they wouldn't, try to make that money off me all the time. So, and yes, Tech 702 saying I type with 2 fingers, so keyboards don't bother me much. I just prefer backlit. And that's something that the MacBook has done for years that I've been super grateful for, having those backlit keyboards in there. And Am I allowed to say iPad Pro Magic Keyboard? I wasn't going to talk about it, but that's one of the best features that I didn't realize that I didn't realize how much I missed until I had it. So, but I'm not talking about not talking about that one at all this week. What I will talk about is so yeah, I made a note on the channel description here that WWDC is official starting June 22nd. That's kind of the beginning and end of that. If you know, you know. If you care, you care. What does this mean for you if you're watching this as a mom or as a consumer or somebody else? Usually, while that is usually held in person, I'll try to say usually one more time because I usually do. The event is usually, now I'm going to say it's a magnet. People typically come together for that event to do developing activities in person. There's a whole week of it. And while it is a developer-oriented thing, and I know some developer friends of mine who are pumped to go get exposure to new things, rumors of Final Cut Pro possibly coming to iPad, and then the new Apple AR glasses and what they're doing for the future, LiDAR technology, some stuff like that people are looking forward to implementing in the years ahead. For consumers, we should get excited because Apple drops new hardware most of the time at the start of it. Apple this year has been a little bit of a slow roll, though. They've, rather than dropping big announcements, since they haven't had keynotes, they are doing a great job of keeping the fire turned up, running just past medium, where they drop some new stuff every couple weeks. You got the new iPhone SE, that iPad typey thing that I'm not going to talk about again. Those are a couple examples of the excitement that's been going on. So yeah, that's the bit on WW. I am also, so WW is cool. Looking forward to it. June 22nd, mark your calendars. You'll probably hear, if you're looking for some new Apple stuff, obviously that Sunday we'll be back here talking about whatever they did that week. I am also in the Apple Developer Program, and we'll probably be tracking some of the background stuff, but I probably won't talk about that here because you will all A, have heard about it already, or B, fall asleep when I do so. What you won't fall asleep about is the Apple stores are reopening. That is correct. As the BAP slides, I won't say slides, as the BAP becomes a more tolerable situation, maybe is the best way to say it. Apple has announced that they're opening stores in globally. Globally, there's a bunch. We're not talking about that here, though. Although I do appreciate anyone that's tuning in from the other nations. Thanks for joining. But don't forget to subscribe down over here, too. In the United States, they are opening new stores in Idaho. New stores. They're opening new stores. God, that's just programmed into my brain. Idaho, South Carolina, Alabama, and Alaska will be the first stores to reopen in the country. Internationally, there is like Germany, Sweden, I think Australia that I've seen that are all also ticking off this week. And but the thing that's going to be universal is Apple is doing, and I tried to get a whole list of this stuff because if you look at all the depth of detail that Apple has provided on this, or that, I don't know, this is collected or gathered from Apple, it's pretty impressive. They are, so temperature checks for anyone going in, and temperature checks of their staff, obviously, and their staff is all required to be wearing masks. It looks like they're encouraging consumers to wear masks. I assume local stuff will be stepping in to guide that where needed. I know where I'm currently residing, in this Costco, they have masks are ironically masks are very required in Costco, and a lot of people are very, very upset about it, and a lot of people are very happy. So I expect it'll be up to local legislation there. But if you want to go in the store, you need to get a temp check. They're also limiting the amount of people that are in the store. Social distancing, hand sanitizer, employee face coverings, all that stuff. Yep. The interesting part for me, though, is that they are doing so, and usually I'm there doing a pickup, or I'm there to browse and see the new thing without actually buying it. So they have reduced the amount of gear on tables. So they will now have, they've allegedly pushed it closer. They've reduced it and then pushed the products closer to the corner of the tables, which is interesting because it was always the goal before was to push it away from the corner so that the stuff doesn't obviously get lost and it's not theft risk and whatever. But now they're pushing it closer to the corner so that if you have clusters of people in there, despite them reducing the amount of humans in the store, they will now hopefully be at corners, which will keep them farther apart. The other thing they're going to be doing to keep people farther apart is Genius Bar sessions and activities like that. You're all going to be across the table from the person. So it'll be a real different look in the Apple Store. The most impressive thing, how could I forget this? So in the past, if you've gone into an Apple Store, you're using the Apple Store app, you've made a purchase on there. When you go into the store, you can, and I also just realized I'm not even clicking through my banners. So here, we'll just do this. Thanks for watching my banners. In the Apple Store, there is usually a runner, and there are folks, so there's folks out in the back gathering your inventory. And if you walk in, you launch that app and you say, I'm in the store, you type in a brief description. I'm the guy with a beard and, no pants and a goatee. And then I have to be more descriptive because they never know who that is. I guess a lot of people wear shorts in the store. So there's a person that grabs the thing in the back and then runs it out to you. Well, in today's society now, that would be essentially carrying the risk back and forth between those two places. So there is a relay race or relay system that Apple set up. So the person in the back who picks your stuff will be handing it off to some intermediary human. Maybe Apple's going to come out with a robot or drone or something like that, but it hands off to some intermediate, and then that will go to the floor associate, and then that will come to you. I assume there's a disinfecting process or something else that it's, some hologram light wave kind of thing going on there. But it's interesting that they're doing that, because on the surface of this, it seems great for protecting that person in the back from spreading anything, personally. But my question is, are they really like disinfecting the thing between each stage of that? And how is that going to work? Is personal pickup still going to be a thing? Are they going to tell you, like, when you check in on the app, hey, make sure that you click this button and go stand in like the acid bath for 5 minutes or something? I don't know. It's interesting. I give Apple credit though, because they are one of the better companies out there who thinks about human beings, not necessarily their employees all the time, but they think they do a really, really great job, human factors and stuff like that. So this will be an interesting exploration. Apple, Disney, Tesla are the three that I know if you follow their stock, you'll know all that stuff. But I tend to be interested in seeing how they are going to handle this pandemic. I know I didn't say bat, but it's okay. So the good news is they're reopening. And if you have been patiently waiting on going in store for stuff, just be a little bit more patient. And I would not recommend driving to South Carolina, Alabama, Alaska, or Idaho. But if you live there, that's great. Now, they didn't announce what states will be next, but I assume that they're opening these guys all. These areas are all areas of, I believe they're all areas of low infection. There's no hot spots within XYZ miles of those places. That's why they're doing it there. And I know South Carolina has already opened and things have been kind of, I don't want to say rolling back to normal, but they have been functioning there as an open state again for the past week, I believe. So we will see how this goes. All I can say to you is make sure you stay safe. Wash your damn hands, okay? Don't put your hands in your mouth and don't put them on the table and don't do any of that crap, all right? Stop it. Don't touch your face like I do every episode when I sit in this damn dry warehouse. But, oh, and yeah, the Tech 702 is a great point too. Temp isn't effective at deterring asymptomatic infections. And that's exactly the thing. It's a show. I mean, I'm not a medical professional at all, but watching all the people getting tested for this stuff and seeing the amount of people that are tested they're completely asymptomatic. They show no signs of being ill whatsoever. They do not bear any of the symptoms. That is what asymptomatic means. So they do not appear to have any sort of illness. They're also not going to have a temperature. So while temp checks are good for detecting if you're on the edge of entering into possibly being ill, it doesn't necessarily denote the carriers, but it is, I think it's a good faith effort. It's a GFE to show everybody that, hey, we're trying to do something. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't have anything to pick up there. I'm not going to go there for any returns. I'm interested to see how this goes, though, and how Apple responds. I'm mostly interested to see what the next steps are for their reopening, how quickly they phase it, how long things take, and where things go from here in terms of timeline for them. So I also talked about something that Apple, the best thing Apple did for free this week. Kind of a misnomer, but AirPods Pro. For those who don't know, about a month ago now, maybe I released a video on Galaxy Buds Plus. Of course, I should link it here so you could go watch it. Sure, I'll go do all that stuff. But you know what? Actually, I did do this. Here, bam. We're talking about AirPods Pro. So AirPods Pro, they're released in October last year. They were my favorite headset of all time, or my favorite true wireless headphones. They had the great Apple integration. They had great sound quality. They had noise canceling. They did a lot of things that were amazing. And they were announced last October of 2019, and they came with a firmware of 2 Bravo 584, which was pretty good. I didn't really have too many problems with it, but In November, Apple released a new firmware of 2 Bravo 588. I do not have these all committed to memory. I am definitely going off of notes for this portion of things. Stay with me for the titillating reveal of the next firmware number. The reason why I'm talking about this is because 2C54, as in 2 Charlie 54, was released in 12, the month of December 2019. And that firmware app is one that Apple actually pulled back because it was having problems. And a lot of people I know got upgraded to it, myself included. Now, if you note the timeline of this, I said that I released a Galaxy Buds Plus video about a month ago, and that video showed that I had been using them for a couple of months. So if you look back to when Galaxy Buds Plus came out, that was February of 2020, and was irritated as hell with my AirPods Pro. What does this all tie into Apple giving somebody something for free? Well, I was having problems. The noise cancellation was stupid. The mic quality was irritating. I would walk outside and people would, or I'd be in a car and people would ask what was going on. It was almost like noise. For me personally, it was almost like noise rejection was noise addition. I do know how they work. I had several months of them working acceptably until this firmware update came. But on May 5th, Apple announced a new firmware of 2 Delta 15, which has mostly cured all those issues. So for one thing, AirPods Pro are back on my buy list. For all my friends and family that had AirPods Pro and got them, and I was telling you all to go sell them on eBay and go buy Galaxy Buds Plus, I'm going to wait a little bit longer on that. The 2D15 firmware is actually pretty darn good. I can't lie. I've never had like a battery life issue with them, even though for me, the Galaxy Buds Plus tend to last a little bit longer. I have had ANC and call issues with the AirPods Pro, and those are now resolved. I'm able to call people from a moving vehicle. And yes, in this state of lockdown, I went out and drove around just for the purpose of this testing. My commitment to you guys. But while I was doing that, no problems with audio quality. No problems with pickup or issues at the other end. And I'm sure someone's going to go in the comments. Just, you know what? You can just go in the comments now and say, did you try unpairing them? Did you try killing the battery and doing this? And I did all that crap. Okay. I did everything. I've repaired them to the case. I repaired the case of the phone. I hung them upside down. I burned some incense and herbs underneath it. I, sacrificed the bat. I didn't really sacrifice the bat. I did all that crap. Okay. I'm here talking about sort of consumer friendly stuff, but I do have an idea what I'm doing in the background. I tried it all. Couldn't get them normal. The other thing is though, you can't downgrade AirPods. So, or at least not me as a human being, I couldn't do that. So since I'm not a godlike entity that could download them, downgrade them, and I could not make them work the firmware version that they were, I stopped using them and switched to the G Buds Plus. So I was very, very surprised to see this week when that new firmware came out. It is awesome. It is great. Now, the next question that you have, and yes, 702 says turn it off and turn it back on again. That's pretty much it's pretty much what I was attempting to do. I tried all sorts of wacky things, thinking there's some way to like recalibrate the microphones, or maybe it's the fit test, or maybe it's this. By the way, one weird anomaly for AirPods Pro, I put them in my ears when I first got them, and it pretty much said to use the medium tips. And everyone's thinking he's taking this to adjust the tip joke, but I'm not. Now they want the large tips in my ears. Strange, right? I don't know. They say size matters. But my advice for you. So now I've got to deal with the firestorm I've just created. People are probably sitting here going, oh my gosh, there's new firmware for the AirPods Pro. How can I go get it? So I've got to tell you right now, you can't force an upgrade. It's not like your iPhone where you can go check for the update and then it shows up, and it's not like that at all. A very, very simple process. And the other thing to know, though, is you also can't reject that update. So you might be surprised. So if you want to know if you already have the update, go into settings, general. Let me see here. It should be. Give me 3 seconds. I never want to get it backwards for you guys. Settings, general, about. And then underneath about, if you scroll down, you will have AirPods Pro under there. Maybe I should do like a screen sharing thing, right? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So if you go in there, you will see the version of your AirPods Pro. If it already indicates 2 Delta 15, you're clear. You're good. You got the upgrade. And you're the upgrade. That's a great name for it. It is the upgrade. it is all set and you're done. If you don't have it and you're rocking that 2 Charlie 5.4 version, plug the actual AirPods, put the AirPods in their case, plug it into a lightning cable. I have found that is the best way to do this. Plug it into a lightning cable. Leave it near your phone. Don't use your phone. Leave it alone. Now, bonus that I have found that sometimes triggers it is if you're like listening to music on your phone, like on your AirPods, and they're connected, and then you stop listening to music, like you pause the music, leave them connected, then put them in the case, close the case, plug the case in, and that sort of exact cadence, and then leave it all. If you leave it for like 15, 20 minutes, come back, most of the time you'll see the firmware is updated. The instructions that I would actually give you, and I did go out looking to see if there's any way to force it or anything like that. Every piece of instruction I found said, wait. So put them near your phone, leave them plugged in. You can plug in your phone or not plug in your phone, whatever. If your phone's near death, it's not going to do anything to pass over that update. So I would recommend making sure your phone is charged, probably above 50%. Make sure the AirPods Pro are plugged into a charger. Make sure that they are stuck in their case. And then wait. And Tech702 wants to know, how do you update it without an iPhone? And I'm going to tell you that you buy an iPhone. Sorry, dude. That's it. Actually, I have not paired them to any of my Android devices. And if anyone wants to send me a pair of AirPods Pro that are running the old firmware, I will gladly tinker with them to see how that happens. Yeah, I mean, it is a good question, Mike. That for me, I would assume that, I mean, I know that there's no app for them on the other devices. There's no way to actually get them to interact. The good news is that if those people are having, if they have the 2B588 firmware, then and they didn't return them thereafter, then they're probably happy, and they probably deserve what they get for not owning an Apple phone. That's just, you know, my 2 cents on it. By the way, I'm being totally sarcastic, but it is a good question Mike raises, and it's also very funny considering that I am a I don't have it sitting here on me. I was going to say I am a Galaxy Note user as of the moment, but I will find that out. That is my commitment to get you guys for next week. But I can say if you're an Apple user, an iPhone user, AirPods Pro user, and you've got that, then you will be getting the update soon once you complete those simple tasks. And yes, that is how Apple approaches it. I've got to give a shout out to Samsung. They have the Galaxy Buds Plus, and there is an Apple app for them. So you download it on iOS. It works and looks and smells and feels the same way it does on Android. And you can go in and do firmware updates and do all the crap. You have full and complete control within that application. So kudos to them. But now I absolutely have to go check this. We are looking for AirPods Pro on Android to see exactly how it can do firmware updates, because I'm incredibly curious. Oh, cool. There is a huge Reddit thread on this. And interesting. Yep. It looks like Android will not update them. So people are recommending. Now, I'm not sure if this has changed, but it looks like the upgrade path for Android users to update their AirPods Pro is to connect them to a friend's iPhone to get the update. And yeah, there probably is a dongle, a nice USB-C one that USB-C to Lightning and then Lightning to something else. So the good news is you can buy the AirPods Pro again. I will be recommending them again. They're still incredibly expensive, but the ANC is way better. The mic stuff is way better. The battery life I didn't really have a problem with before. There is still no app if you're on Android, so you can just screw right off. But if you're on Android, you're buying the Galaxy Buds Plus for $100 less anyway, so you probably don't care. At least that's my 2 cents on it. That's what I would have done, and then I never would have cared anymore and looked back. But it is funny because I did almost talk an Android user into buying the AirPods Pro, and they did not. So yeah, you just need to use somebody else's stuff to make them work. Go find a friend with an iPhone, 5. Just buy. You could buy. If you truly believe in this, the best solution is to go buy an $80 iPhone off of eBay, Go find someone's, used 6S that's been beat up, but, just use it as your upgrade mule, right? That's all you need to do. Just buy more product to support our product. So, winding into the home stretch here, I will be wrapping this up shortly. I know I ran a little bit over my 30 here today, and I did have more to talk about. But I guess one thing I will share while I'm mentioning this is two things, actually. There is a link I'm dropping in the chat right now. That link is the Apple sort of hub. It is their shopping hub. So if you want information about things, that is a great place to go. That's kind of like the no frills major key points of shopping with Apple right now. That's a great place to check. I understand. The rumor is that there will be some store information going in there if you have location enabled activity configured for your browser. That's a rumor. But we will see how that actually works. As of right now, it doesn't show anything in my area. It doesn't show anything special. It just shows me ways to shop, and it gives big blocks as to making selections for things. But give that a check if you're curious about what Apple is doing. And Mike, that is absolutely correct. Tech702 says, I only come here for information. I don't trust the internet. And that is absolutely correct. That is the best thing to do, because if I'm talking about it, it's because I've done it, I've tested it, I've tried it, or if it's a rumor, I've run circles around it to see if it wouldn't make sense. And if it's just BS, I'm not going to bring it up here. Like there have been, or I'll tell you, this is BS, but I'm not going to do that. I will get that AirPods Pro thing out of here though. It's time to go. So one thing, if anybody has any questions or anything like that, any follow-ups or anything about anything that I've discussed here today, of course, always comments or throw something in the chat. And I will follow up a little bit on last week's episode, because we're sitting here and I ran over a little bit already. The iPhone SE, I had the go or no discussion. And while I'm not talking about the, I could almost call it the MKBD, but I'm not going to talk about the that magic key device for the iPad Pro this week. Promise I not to. But the iPhone SE, did I keep it? What happened with it? I am printed out returns, and I'm actually sending them both back. Yeah, I did flip over them for the full 2 weeks. This is now the end of that 2 weeks. It happened yesterday, or really Friday, I guess. And I love them. The screen on time is great for such a small device. I really appreciated the home screen, especially in an era where we're using face masks. I'm sorry, home screen. I mean the home button. I mean, I appreciate the home screen too. It's a really great thing to have on a phone that is your primary interface. But the home button is awesome. I got irritated though I didn't get as irritated with the small screen size as I expected to. I did get irritated with, while I love the screen time, it was around, I think my course math was about 5 hours, 43 minutes of SOT with that device, which is impressive. And that was still leaving it at about 15% battery life. But that's while I'm home. So I'm not out in the real world. I know once I go out into the real world, that will kill me. And I will need, you'll need to like walk around with something like this all the time, which I don't want to do that. And by the way, you could probably use a smaller one than this. But, this is a live show. You need something for effect. That broke something. So the SEs, the SEs are leaving. The other thing is, it's kind of funny, is as much as I appreciate that home button, it's a great classic design. It's a great phone for the price point in the iOS realm. There's a lot of talk about it being, the switcher phone, the phone that's going to lure all these people away from Android. But it's like the exact opposite phone of everything in the realm of Android. And just as a reminder, Android is an operating system. iOS is an operating system. Apple is a company, they make iPhones. And then iOS runs on their iPhones. So Android is like a whole bunch of people. But yeah, there's not a lot of folks out there in the Android realm right now making a display that small on a phone that's that small. And yeah, it has the A13 CPU. And yeah, this has been like the hottest topic, and it's annoying clickbait, and it's why you won't see it in the description, and you're not going to see me actually list it in the show notes here. But if you're still here, we're running through this real quick. It's a great phone for the money. It's a great phone on iOS. It is. Jacqueline NBT on Twitter said it is. She made a video talking about it being your grandma phone. the best grandma phone. And that is exactly what it is. It is not the screen size is fine for a lot of things. It's fine. It's usable. It's a usable screen. I love the size of the device, but while I love that home button, if Apple just got rid of that and made the whole thing OLED, cool. I'd actually be cool with that. That little bit of a bump with that same size device, maybe make it a little bit thicker. So as we look ahead to the iPhone 12, which I know I have intentionally not discussed on here too much, there are rumors that we will see a 5.1-inch version of the iPhone 12. I am hoping that this means that they've kind of done exactly what I just talked about. You know, nuke the home button, make it a little bit bigger, give it some OLED, give it a little bit more juice for battery. We'll see. I definitely did appreciate the smaller form factor device, but in the end of the day, the thing that I brought up last week is really irritating. I live and rely on reminders. I use a couple different pieces of software that throughout the day, I'm either, on WebExes or Teams or doing different things across my workday. And I need, if my phone is asleep in my pocket and I pull it out to interact with something, I don't want to have to, it sounds so petty. I don't want to have to swipe and then go into the interaction. I just want to press. And I can do that on every other damn iPhone around. So why can't I do it there? And of course, the camera thing is okay. I actually purchased a Moment case. I have the Moment lens kit. It's great. It reminded me a lot of when I had my iPhone 6S with one camera. And if you want to take pictures zoom or doing pictures, ultra wide, you're doing it with a lens. So I'm returning them. Now, there probably will be one purchased for someone as a replacement to their iPhone 6S. And if you have a 6S, a 7, or an 8, and you're wondering about it, I would absolutely get this. I would absolutely still recommend the SE for purchase, because if you already, all the things that are sort of shortfalls to me are really the things. If you're not, hitting your elbows on those walls of the display size or the home button, and you like that stuff and you like that classic design, go buy the SE. No, I mean, it is a worthy upgrade from an iPhone 8. It is faster than an iPhone 8. It is more powerful than an iPhone 8. And in my opinion, gets better battery life. It gets better battery life if you're using the phone than an iPhone 8. That's probably the better way to explain it. An iPhone 8, you can have, my battery lasts a day or whatever. It'll last longer on the SE because it's not working as hard to drive the pixels. It's not struggling as much to do things. So running Microsoft Teams on an iPhone 8 will destroy it. I mean, if you're using it all the time for stuff. And on the SE, it wasn't nearly as bad. It was better than it was on my iPhone XR, which is somewhat of a battery diva. So, the other thing that's really funny too, Gary, hey, thanks for stopping in, man. If you're still here, thank you again. He said he's been listening while driving. He's got to run. And just a reminder, everybody, hit that like button. Yeah, I will never do all that stuff. I always forget to tell everybody, hey, hit that like button. It tells YouTube that you like the content that we're producing. And if you're watching this far in, by the way, type AirPods in the comments. Yeah, like if you're replay crew. If you're live, I know you're here. We're all good. But I'm just curious. Just the word AirPods. That's it. Just AirPods. Just curious if anyone's watching the replay. But Mike makes a very funny comment here. Yeah, people leaving the 11 Pro for the SE is so amazing. And yeah, that is just all. It's ridiculous. I do have an 11 Pro, and I should actually share what I'm doing here. So this is my XS Max. It's live. Let me wake it up here. Yeah, if I had notifications on the screen, I could interact with them, and you'd see that. But this is like how my brain always works. I go. I went from the 11 Pro, which is my daily driver, and that is probably my most favorite iPhone yet for being well-rounded. For those who don't know, I think I've officially stated that here before, so I'll state it again. The 11 Pro is like a great mixture of size, battery, screen, camera. It is the well-rounded one. So coming out of so I moved from that over into, I went from that Pro Max and then SE to go down, and now I'm bouncing back up. I'm going actually into an older iPhone, which is the XS Max, has an older CPU, but a bigger display. And I'm trying to kind of see how, what the next phases of life are. Do I miss the faster CPU in the SE, even though it might have had lesser RAM than the 11 Pro? So yeah, I'm always doing something. I might not talk about it, but yeah, that's my current plan. So rocking the XS Max now for a while. And my two phones now that I've come out of the SEs, what am I using? If you care, Note 10 Plus, and XS Max. So I've got two gigantic Pop-Tart devices, which normally are not my favorite, but I'm looking to pay attention over the next couple of days to see how things go. So that said, oh, and K Hodge says, yep, sticking with Galaxy Buds Plus. Yeah, can't blame you. I know when Samsung did their pre-orders and everything too, they were including them, which just makes it easy that they're, the free headphone. But they really actually are still legit. They pocket check. They are still what I carry. And I do have, hang on. I do have my AirPods Pro, but I haven't gotten the muscle memory yet to take these when I go out anywhere. And yes, this is a glorious little Catalyst case. I should shout out to Catalyst. They have this great little rubber case, which if you go down to my channel, I did a video about that on the AirPods case. The Pro case is the same thing. It's a marvelous little thing that lets you clip it on places, and it's very, very sturdy and rubber. And I haven't gotten anything like that for the Galaxy Buds Plus because they fit in my pocket and they don't, it's weird. Oh, I didn't say my pants pocket. You don't think I meant that. I meant my pocket. No, actually, these just disappear in the pocket better. Now this is getting entirely adult. I'm glad I didn't select that this was for kids. So, and Michael Pepper Tech Talk says, might have to get a pair of Buds Plus because battery life and wireless charging. Yeah, that's the other thing that's kind of funny about these. On the AirPods Pro, and you mentioned wireless charging, so we'll get it here. If you compare these two guys side by side, the Galaxy Buds Plus, AirPods Pro, they're about the same height. For some weird reason, on the sort of I don't know, the lazy chaise lounge chargers that I have that are, I keep putting my hand like this. I'm showing you the angle of my charger. Okay, I'm not just like, this isn't a weird salute. It's not a strange message. NSA, you can leave me alone this time. But on the chargers that are the reclining sort of Qi chargers that keep your phone upright, with these guys, it's tricky. It's like I have to kind of put it on and then turn it sometimes, and it doesn't always light up. But and I will say, because it's square on the edge, once I line it up, it's perfect. These guys here, you've got to play the little balancing act, but every time they hit, I don't know if it's like the coil is an oval shape underneath. I assume it is, but it always hits and starts Qi charging. The other thing too, that is a big thing, I know this isn't an entire Delta episode, but I do use Lightning. I mean, obviously my iPhones are all Lightning, but surprisingly enough, most of my touch points are all Qi. And where they're not Qi, I have USB-C because that's AirPods Pro and MacBook. So for my life, it sounds a little bit strange, but the USB-C is far better. Even though I'm an Apple guy, I hate the fact that they have freaking Lightning in the AirPods Pro. It's stupid. Apple needs to start making all their accessories with USB-C. I've boycotted micro USB a while ago. I will not buy anything that is micro USB. If you have the cure to my life, but it comes with micro USB, I'm not buying it. I don't care, and I'm not going to reward anyone doing that. Now, Apple, we know they're going to ride the Lightning there with their. Wow, that's funny. They're actually going to ride the Lightning. I was about to say they're going to ride the Lightning with Lightning, but we know that they're going to ride that out as long as they can. Shout out to Metallica, by the way. But they're going to run that as long as they can. There's benefits to being in the ecosystem that, Lightning provides for Apple, of course. But personally, I'm a huge fan that these guys, the Galaxy Buds Plus, have USB-C. And as you can tell, even though I am recommending these things again and pointing people towards them that are Apple fans, they do have a more graceful transition in between Apple devices, especially for somebody that has like 10 Apple devices and you're moving between them all the time. I will still recommend them. But yeah, obviously, as you see, the Galaxy Buds are in my pocket. And no, I'm not going to stand up because I'm not really wearing pants. Otherwise, I'd show you that I just put them back in my pocket. So, and yeah, Michael Pepper, just for your awareness, there's a lot of, you can find them pretty inexpensively. Used headphones are a strange thing. It's a weird thing. I get it. I wouldn't necessarily want to buy them used, although I did for some testing that I was doing. Maybe I'll talk about that another time. But you can find them used now for really, really short money. So Galaxy Buds, I wouldn't recommend. Galaxy Buds Plus, yes, because you can go back and forth between iOS and Android far easier than you can thanks to that app and thanks to some of the other stuff. So tech for your needs. Yeah, it's okay. I know that you're an AirPods Pro guy though. You're a fan of those, which is great. The AirPods Pro are, and the other thing I should have said too is AirPods Pro for me all along, like they've been pretty good at listening. They're a great listening headphone. I haven't had much issue with the sound quality. They're truly wireless earbuds that stick in your ears. AirPods I like for phone calls. AirPods Pro I like for listening to music. They're not awesome, but they're great for most of the situations. Where I couldn't stand them and where they died for me and where I haven't tested them on the new firmware yet is on a plane. Now, thanks to some things changing, some job stuff going on, I will be on a plane here within probably about within a month if everything goes right. So I will have some ANC testing on an airplane with the AirPods Pro in a real world environment versus me just playing it really, really loud with headphones on and my AirPods in my ears, which is kind of strange, but they did perform better in that brief test that I did. So, but the Galaxy Buds Plus killed them there before. But yeah, AirPods Pro, Galaxy Buds Plus, if you got them, either of them, I wouldn't sell them for the other. If you're looking for new ones, I would say try the Galaxy Buds Plus. And if you don't like them and you miss the ability to quickly switch devices like you can on the AirPods Pro, then try the AirPods Pro. But hey, I'm pushing like 50 something minutes here, so I think I'm going to wrap this one. And I will save my story of my absolutely destroyed screen protector on the iPhone SE for next week. I'll try and get a picture on here because it is an interesting story, I promise. So, but if anyone has any questions, anything like that, make sure you drop a note here in the chat so I can catch it before I go. Otherwise, I really appreciate everybody coming out. Big shout out to all the moms out there. I hope you all have a great day. All the dads, I hope you guys all have a great day as well. I mean, really, whether you're a mother, a father, or a child, I hope you have a great day. And if you're not either of those, I hope your flight from the other planet is going well. But until next time, folks, super glad for you coming out today to join us. Don't forget to hit that like button. Drop a subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Share with a friend if you don't like what I'm doing. Hit that dislike too if you think this is lousy, but make sure you type something in the comments so I know. If you're replay crew, hit AirPods in the comments. I'm curious to see just the word AirPods, just AirPods. If you actually talk about the AirPods, I might think you watch the show. But anyways, thanks again, everybody. Really appreciate this. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, great rest of your week. You can catch me Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern over on Michael Pepper Tech Talks channel. We do a nice little live show over there. Tech 702, Michael Pepper, and myself. It's the Let's Talk Tech Friday show. Also, next Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, right back here. Okay. Well, I might not send out I might not set up the stream in advance. I don't always do that, but know that it'll be here. No matter when I send it out, no matter, just come back. We'll be here. It'll be good. Till next time. Thanks so much, everybody. Stay safe. Be well. Oh, it always wants to define the word. Later.